So now that we have set up the basic checkpoint blueprint, we're going to actually implement the functionality for the checkpoint to actually start the timer and then to stop the timer at the start and the end point. And everything will basically happen in these four blueprints. So the first thing that we're going to look at are these functions. So one thing that I did here is just saved this speedometer as a variable, so I can have it as a reference later, so I can change or update stuff. So I just added it there, and then is race active, so this is just to check if we are still racing or not. So this would be useful if we went over the end race or the last checkpoint. After that, we are going to go all the way down to this on component begin overlap, and this is important because we are going to use this box collision to detect if we went over the checkpoint. So what you need to do is click add, type box collision, and then add it in the scene, and then just scale it up to make it fit the front of the car. Next thing would be to go down and then click on the on component begin overlap. If you click plus on this, it will just automatically add an event for this. You could also, of course, type in here the name of the event. And this event, what we need to do is cast to our BP checkpoint, or however you named your checkpoint blueprint. And then in there we are going to take two functions. Now these two functions you do not have yet, so you need to create them. So you need these four functions to be created: isStart, isFinish, checkpoint ID, and isCheckpoint. And just in this tutorial we're going to use these two, but we also will need these other two also. And you need to set all of them to instance editable, or just click this icon here, because we want to change this per checkpoint. So you can set each checkpoint to be kind of custom set, so you can check which ID is each checkpoint. Okay, so after you check those values in here, we can go to our new car BP again, and then you can pull from here and find isStart and isFinish. And then first we check is our checkpoint the start checkpoint. So if it is, we are going to get the game time in seconds and set this to active, so we know it is running. And then we have isFinish, and this will just check if it's not start, then it might be finish. We check if it's finish. And then we set the finish time, which we have to set it as get game time in seconds minus the start time. And here at the top, if it is start time, we just get game time in seconds and set the start time. So this is just kind of a starting point, since we can take any time and then set it as start time. So you'll need the start and end time floats. And at the end time, we just do a bit of division, and that will give us kind of the difference of 2 seconds, of 2 times, basically, in seconds. And then we send this lap to complete function to our speed meter that we're going to look at later. And let's just set our race to inactive. So if you do this, you should be set for kind of the basic triggers of begin overlap. Now, let's see if we have anything in checkpoint. So I think this is all that we just added, just some values that you can set. Then we have our speed meter. And before we go to that, let's go to our lap time. So this one will be a bit more important right now. And first, let's go to our designer. And what I added here is our past lap time. So it's just text that I set to nothing. So if I write something, you can see it's just a text box. And I formatted it where I have this vertical box, and then I put our 2 times inside that vertical box, and I set it to size to content. So this way it will kind of take over all the content, and then we have our past time that will be set after we go through our endpoint. That will tell us our last lap, basically. Let's see if we did anything here. And yeah, just for the animation or just for the visuals, I also added an animation to this. So what you can do is click plus, and it will create new animation in this animations tab, and this animations tab you can access through window and click on animations. And after you create the new animation tab, you can click on it, and then almost everything you can kind of animate. So you have this plus option that you can just add keyframes to, and then after you add keyframes you can animate. So what I did is I clicked a keyframe for color opacity on 0, then on, let's see if you can catch it, on 0.17 of course you can put it however long you want it. 0.17 I set this color to yellow, and then every time you have to click add keyframe, and then I went to 0.55 and then just added the keyframe for white color. And I did the same for transform, where I had 1 and 1 at the beginning, but then in the middle we have scale 1.2. And that's about it for the animation. After that, if you go to graph, we have few new functions in here. So first we have update lap time, and this just takes time span. So we have our current time span, and then we have this separate time span that is for our lap time. This is when we update this the text. So we set the current time, and then we take the lap time text, which is this one, and then we set it as our time span, and we just format it as time span. And you are setting the current time, so we can later set it our past lap time to current time. So this is kind of why we are saving it as time span. And then we have format time span, which is our function, which just let me just move it a bit, which is the same thing that we have had in here, but it was kind of bigger, and we need to reuse it again. So if you set it as function, you can just reuse it multiple times. So it looks like this. So we take our time span, we break it down into days, hours, minutes, seconds, milliseconds, but we don't really care about hours and days. And then we take those numbers and then we format it like this. And then we're gonna get 3 new inputs. And I just also, for each one, I sent it to text, because we want this minimum and maximum integrals to be 2. So you don't get something like 1.5, 2, 3, 4, stuff like that. And then we also disabled grouping. And after you do that, to create it as a pure function, you need to click on the function and then click pure to be enabled. And this way you can kind of connect it to anything, and you don't have these execution pins. You can just send input in and then send the result. Next thing is end of lap, and this is when you finish your lap, you're gonna play the animations that we made, where our kind of numbers flash, and after that we're just gonna set text of our current time. So this is at the moment you finish the race, whatever your current time is, we set it, and then this is staying until we finish another race and we set it as the new current time. So let's see if that's about it. Yeah, that's about it in here. Then we have our speed meters. So first you might have to adjust the positioning of your lap time, since we added a new bottom current lap time timer. So you might have to adjust that. Now I already have my alignment set up well, so it automatically just moved a bit up, and then we have space for our other text. But after that, let's see what we have in the event graph first. So this is all that we did before already, so we don't have to worry about that, but we have to worry about these 2 new functions. So this first function updates our lap time in our lap time widget. So this is if we go back, so it's this one. We set our current time and then we set our lap text. So this is kind of for each checkpoint, and then we have our end time. We have end of lap. So this is kind of our end lap or end checkpoint update, but we have our update lap time which is for each lap. After that we have sent complete, and this is to end of lap. This is what we activate in here when we completely finish the lap, which is set is finish, and this is something that we're going to set in here. So if I click on any of my checkpoints, we can see that we have is start, is finish, and then if I click on this one, we have this is set on is finish. So when this is triggered, when that is triggered, this triggers, and then we trigger our send lap complete, and then we update our last lap. And let's see if we have anything else in here. I think that is about it. We don't have any new variables here. Oh, the only new variable here is our current time and past time, but this is the new text. Maybe we can also name it like that. So let's do past lap time text, just so we know what it is. But yeah, the only new variable that we created is this current lap time. And let's see if we have anything here. I think we have on tick something, yeah. So on tick, we have this tick is race active. So this is just something that we're going to use later to check if we even started the race. And maybe we can set like the start checkpoint to activate is race active. But for now it is disabled, and we kind of check on tick so we don't update our lap timer even if the race is not active. So we have our update lap timer, which is in our speedometer where we update everything. And this kind of we check on tick, and we get our time seconds, our start time, and then how much basically time elapsed from that. And after we do that, I just created 2 start and then checkpoints. For now, later we're going to do something else, but we have our is start. So when you put our checkpoint, we can just, since we exposed our variables, we can just set which one is start and which one is finish. And this all should activate when we go over with our collider in the front of the car, if we go over this collider on the checkpoint. So let's test that. Let's also give us a bit more space in here, if we can. Something like that. So now that we have passed the start point, we can see our timer is going. And then we pass end point, we get our animation, and then we get our last lap time. And that's about it for the start and the end checkpoint, and later we are going to do with checkpoints in between, basically.